Good morning, Chris. Could you give a short introduction about yourself?
I'm Chris, 43, and I live off grid on a 40-acre farm in the middle of nowhere, Colorado.
Okay, very interesting introduction. So first, let's do the 43. What brought you to the real world at 43? Because usually the population you'd see within is younger guys, right?
Right, right, right. Honestly, 99% of it for me was mindset. It was all about mindset. And I actually only recently found, Tate and his content just this year at the beginning of the year.
Mhm.
Um, but it was all about mindset. I've always known how to make money throughout my life. I just didn't know I had this limiting belief set of self-sabotage and fear of success. And that's the part I wanted to overcome.
Interesting. Okay. So what kind of an impact has it had on your mindset, the real world and Tate?
It's a massive impact, actually. Life had beaten me down pretty good and pretty hard over the past 3 to 4 years, and diminished my fire into, I guess, what you could call a barely smoldering ember. And the real world breathed life back into that fire. And that
Mhm.
fire inside is now a raging inferno.
Good. That's very good to hear. And would you be comfortable going a bit more into what happened in those 3 to 4 years?
Um, it was a few years after I had bought this property and moved off grid. Tried the homesteading farming life, tried to build a personal brand, and I just suffered loss after loss after loss. And it started to take its mental toll on me. And I started to become complacent, like the world owed me something for the hard work that I was putting in, but I wasn't receiving it back. And after suffering so many failures and so many losses, it just mentally destroyed me, and
Mhm.
virtually physically at the same time. And trying to come back from that was pretty difficult on my own with my
Right.
mind where it was.
Mhm. And losses in what way?
Just accomplishing tasks that didn't work out the way they were supposed to, or those losses over time, just small losses here and there, not being able to accomplish tasks on time, or a task failing and not working out the way it was supposed to, or not being able to get something to the market and be profitable on time. And they just compounded and compounded over time.
Yeah. And you're saying that was very hasn't took a mental toll on you.
Yeah.
Interesting. So
Yeah.
just what prolonged quote unquote failures over time eventually just crushed you? Is that what happened?
Yeah, exactly what happened. It
Mhm.
crushed me in a bad way.
Yeah. Interesting. And why did you decide to move off grid?
Um, Originally, it was because corporate life was killing me on top of it. I used to be a chemist, and I worked in a lab for a major mining corporation specializing in precious metals reclamation and process development. And it was just the job never stopped, ever.
Hmm.
Not even at 3 o'clock in the morning when a major mine boss is calling you for assay results at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
So it
Right.
took.
Sorry for interrupting. So was the thinking then you'd quote unquote escape corporate life, go off grid, and then life would change, but then you kept having other things piling on top, the failures, and then you realized, I mean, I thought this would go completely differently. Was that the mindset there?
Yeah, that was exactly it. And on top of it, it was, I had a dream without a plan. So I
Hmm.
wanted to escape into a life of safe self-sustainability, and I guess, quote unquote, the simpler life, which is technically a lot harder, but you live it the way that you want to. So
On your own terms, yeah. Okay,
yes.
that makes sense. And how has the real world changed that in this case?
Well, it's brought back my mindset. It's brought back my drive, my desire, uh, as I said before,
Mhm.
the fire inside me is now an inferno.
And
There,
why did it bring it back?
it helped remind me who I am and what I'm capable of.
Interesting. And what was that specifically within the real world that brought that back, or was it Tate's lessons?
A lot of it was realizing that the choices I make in life, I have to own them. Every failure, I have to own it. Every success, you own that as well. But you can't push your blame off for your failures on others. And that ties right back in with that subconscious self-sabotage and fear of success that, I never knew was there my entire life.
Right. Okay, very interesting. Thank you for sharing that. And going more into the real world now, what campus did you choose to go into when you joined?
Well, originally when I joined, I went into the copyright campus because I thought to myself, let's do what I believe to be the hardest thing for me. If I can work my way through what is the hardest, then there's nothing to stop me.
Mm-hmm. And how has that progressed?
Well, shortly after I joined the copywriting campus is when the UGC campus opened. And that resonated with me because I had been trying to make content living off grid for several years. And I didn't know what I was doing at that time. So seeing that open really resonated with me, and I jumped in there to see what it was all about. And I just went for it full force.
Okay, interesting. Just for some clarification for the audience, the UGC campus is now renamed the Content Creation Campus.
Yes.
So I'll refer to it as the Content Creation Campus. How did that progress for you? Joining the content creation, how did you acquire clients? And some more details into that. What did you learn?
Well, it started, ironically, the exercises in the beginning to get you comfortable with being in front of the camera, for me, also made me tear off some Band-Aids and expose some wounds that I needed to admit to myself.
In what way?
Just going back into mindset, my failures and things like that. Some of the exercises that are inside there force you to be authentic and honest with yourself. Not everybody technically goes that route, but I chose to tear Band-Aids off for myself.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So it even sounds like a bit of a therapy session there.
It was for me.
Interesting. Okay. So in terms of clients, how did you acquire clients?
So after I worked my way through the content creation campus and passed what they call your final exam to move on to start contacting clients, primarily just email outreach. And then there was a bounty within the campus, and that's what really set it off for me. And that pushed my outreach to a whole new level. And I just cast a net so wide on the internet, I started pulling fish in.
Okay, so explain a bit more. What was the process when you actually acquired the client? A client, or was it multiple clients?
It kind of turned into a snowball effect, in all honesty. The first week was a little bit slow, even though I was pushing really hard. And then I got a response, and I was adjusting my email copy the entire time, trying to be more personable and relatable with the brands that I was reaching out to. And my first one actually ended up emailing me back. It was just a gift collaboration in exchange for a video, which I eventually turned into a cash profit by upselling them later on another video. But from there, right after that, after casting that net out there, as I said, from Twitter to TikTok to Instagram to just multiple DMs and emails, I eventually got one business that reached out to me for a monthly retainer.
Interesting. So how much have you earned as a result of the reward?
So far since this bounty came in and I really aggressively started outreaching, roughly about $2,000 in 2 weeks.
Congratulations.
Thank
Definitely,
you.
for just having begun, seems like a very good sum of money.
It honestly, it really is. I mean, being a 43-year-old man, I've seen every money making, what people would call opportunities out there throughout my life, from, juices to snake oils to MLMs. And some of them I have tried in the past 20 plus years ago. And I can honestly tell you, yeah, the real world is legit when it comes to making
Mhm.
money.
So even before you made the money from content creation, what got you dedicated to actually dedicate your time into it? Since you're saying you've seen all of the scams around, so what made this seem not to be a scam and worth putting your time into?
Mindset
All mindset.
comes right. It all comes back to mindset all the way around.
Interesting. Is there more detail you could go into there?
Um, well, yeah, I mean, you can work your ass off all day long, but if you don't have the proper mindset, you'll never be successful. So there's a difference between making money and being successful.
Okay. And in this case, you knew you had the right guidance. It was just a matter of having the mindset to put in the work and follow that guidance, right?
Right. Well, I've always had the work ethic. I was
Mhm.
raised with a strong work ethic. It was just, it was that mindset to push over that final hill to become successful. Because when you have that fear of success in life, sure, you can make money, but you're always presented with that challenge, a roadblock to really break through the barrier to become truly successful. And that will present you with a life choice where you believe that choice isn't really your fault. It's external factors that's making it happen, but that's really your internal sabotage. So you can stay in this zone of comfort that most of us are always in. And breaking through that barrier into what would be true success it's uncomfortable. It's unknown. It scares people.
Mhm. So was that internal sabotage initially telling you it's not worth outreaching to clients because this probably might not work, or no?
Honestly, in the beginning, it kind of was. I still had issues with that self-sabotage creeping up. And um, it did slow me down for the first week or so until, well, Seth's probably going to get, well, I don't know what Seth's going to say about it, but I kind of made Seth my unofficial mentor. He kind of
Mhm.
reminds me of myself when I was 25.
Right. Which Seth? Because there's two. The
Seth
army
8.
Seth?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Yeah, I
Yep.
had two interviews with Seth now.
Yep.
Amazing person.
Yeah,
Okay.
I love his drive and his fire, and I'm a
Mhm.
very competitive person, and I feed off of other people's energy.
Right.
So when Seth gets hyped up, I get hyped up.
Nice. I love to hear that. So, for the clients you acquired, what services did you offer them?
Um, Content creation in the form of video ads.
Good. So, how many videos do you make for them? And what is the pitch there like? You just outreach to them, say, I saw your company, I'd like to make some ads for you. Is that what happens? Is it different?
Yeah, essentially not in those exact words. You kind of have to custom craft your email to the brand,
Hmm.
especially if you want them to open it and respond. But basically telling them, this is what I do very briefly, and this is what I can do for you. And this is how I can do it, and this is how I can help you. And this is what my ads can potentially do for your brand.
Hmm. Okay, interesting. Now, how different is your average day now compared to before you joined the real world? How much has it changed?
It's changed immensely. I mean, yeah, immensely. I used to, I wake up, do my farm chores, do all that. And because life had beaten me up so bad, I was literally getting to the point where I was watching the clock until 5 o'clock so I could have a drink. Um, Whiskey had no longer become a reward for me. It had become an escape. So because of that, and with the mindset, I don't drink anymore, and I work out aggressively, and I work and I work, and I can't sleep until I get my work done for the day.
Okay, interesting. Good. So yeah, good to see the positive impact, the mindset change, and how you're going, as in how everything is developing for you. Now, what would you say for the biggest insights then, outside of mindset? What have been the biggest insights you've learned from the content creation campus?
The biggest insights would be being comfortable with who I am as a person and not afraid to be myself in front of other people. Because I think a lot of us like to put on a facade when we're around other people and around new people. And in the content creation campus, like it just brought out my authentic self and my ability to be comfortable authentically in front of anyone.
Good. Okay. Very nice. I love the answer. And how different would you say the material is within the real world compared to everything else you've seen throughout your life?
It is phenomenal. Yeah, it's not the type of content you would think in comparison to the other things that are out there, because other things essentially just push a pre-built program where you're making someone else money. The real world is all about becoming the best version of yourself and learning a skill that you can use to go out there in the world, make a difference, make money, and change your life.
Mm-hmm. Right. And why do you think they only charge $50 for all that value?
Great question. I'm glad that they do. And I think it's mainly because they want the information out there. They want it to be easily accessible to those who otherwise wouldn't have access to it.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, seems so to me as well. Because I've interviewed quite a lot of people from third world countries, and to them, those $50 were a lot of money, but they're living on a US wage in a third world country, and so living like kings.
Right. I mean,
So,
when I joined the real world, I only had $75 left on a credit card, and the rest of them were maxed out.
oh, wow. And yeah, at the time you're saying you're still living off grid and you've maxed out all your money and don't really have another option at that point, right?
Yeah, I really didn't, but I didn't, I didn't have any other choice inside my mind.
Yeah.
It was either continue on the route that I was going or spend basically my last $50.
Wow. That caught me off guard as well. I mean, yeah, pretty much last ditch attempt and believing it will work, and it did work out. So where do you see everything going for you now? Now that you've made the 2000 in 2 weeks, what do you think is possible? Short term, mid-term, long term?
Short term, midterm, and long term. Short term goal is 10K a month within the next 2 to 3 months.
Perfect.
Um, Mid is going down the route of a personal brand while building my content creation for other brands and branching out into e-commerce and using what I've learned in content creation to promote an e-com store. And then long term, I haven't put numbers on those goals yet. I'm still thinking about that, but I would like to see myself in a position where I built the brand that I've always wanted to build, doing my things off grid that I tried on YouTube, but now knowing how to do it, as well as I'm toying around with this idea of a content creation company to connect brands with content creators, because I see a gap inside the real world where there's guys who make really, really good content, but they're, for lack of a better word, they're not the best speakers or communicators, and their outreach isn't that great. So getting clients is very difficult for them. So to kind of bridge that gap and create a company to connect brands with people inside the content creation campus that make quality video ads, and putting those two people in a room together.
Right. So there's definitely potential there. Yeah, I love the idea.
Yeah.
And in terms of short-term goal, what are your plans for achieving it?
Short-term goal is to keep this train running down the tracks for starters, and continuing outreach, continuing, I guess, building and practicing and mastering the skills that I'm learning inside of there to become a better creator and be able to produce for those brands that I'm outreaching to and build that name. Because with every video you make for a brand, you're building social proof.
Yeah, perfect. And is there any more to add on the impact that Tate has had on you personally?
I mean, in all honesty, between Tate and the real world, he quite literally saved my life. Literally. I was in a very, very dark place from being beat up by life. My wife had actually left me and moved out. My drinking had gotten worse because of that. And I was actually sitting right where I'm sitting right now with a 9mm in my lap and a cocktail in my hand. And I've actually never told anyone this story. It's never verbally crossed my lips. So if I get a little emotional, sorry.
Yeah, completely.
I'm in certain degrees, I'm ashamed that those thoughts even crossed my mind. But I was sitting here deciding whether I should put it in my mouth or put it to my temple. And I picked up my phone, and I don't know what caused me to pick up my phone, but I picked up my phone and I opened it up and it went straight to YouTube. Oh, fuck. And I saw this video. It was a video about Andrew Tate, and there was something in there that resonated with me because it's something I'd said to my wife about 16 to 18 months prior, because I was thinking a lot about legacy a couple of years ago, and I wanted to have more kids. And I put it off for quite some time, but I told her, it's about legacy, because there's only a couple of things we really leave behind in this world, and money and things really don't matter, but the lives that we create is our legacy. That's what we leave behind. That's how we make a better world. And when I opened up my phone, it was a video of Tate, and he was talking about his grandmother and the lives that she had created. And it connected with me because I had said something very similar to my wife, about our life path a couple of years ago. And while I'm sitting here in what was essentially a drunken, self-loathing stupor, about to probably make the worst decision of my life and my family's life, something just told me to open my phone, and I saw that video and it stopped me. And I started scrolling, and I started scrolling more, and I started consuming his content and seeing what he was speaking of, which was a lot of things that I'd learned, known, and believed in most of my life. And that one video stopped me from taking my life.
Wow. I hope he sees this to see the impact that he's having on people. I mean, just listening to you, how can you not call that fate or some kind of divine intervention or something? I mean, at that point,
Absolutely.
yeah.
I mean, we would not be talking right now had I not picked up my phone and saw that video that day or that evening.
Right. And it's so sad because for so many men out there, they don't realize there's a different path. They've maybe followed a similar path to you and just spent majority of their life in corporate world, or at least, yeah, I mean, not majority, but at least 20 years working in corporate, thinking they'll amass money, maybe then they can be free at some point, but just that whole time basically being a slave to the system, and then realizing how much time they wasted, and things start going downhill, and at that point there's no direction for you. You don't know where else you're meant to go, what else are you meant to do. So
Right.
the only logical thing left is just to end it at that point, is what it
Right. I mean,
seems.
there's tens of millions of men right now
Yeah.
living in quiet desperation, not knowing what to do or how to do it. And all they need is that one video, that one sentence, that one person, that one thing to say to them that resonates with them that can change their lives. And unfortunately, when most men need it the most, no one's there.
Right.
I'm one of the lucky ones.
Right. Wow. And yeah, there's so much to say there. But yeah, thank you. Thank you for sharing that, Chris. I mean, even brought me to tears as well. I'm very glad to see how everything has played out for you, that you're so much better now and you have a good direction to head towards, that your mindset is so much better. I mean, that's such a relief to listen to. So yeah.
Like I said, between Tate and TRW, they breathed life onto that little spark of an ember and turned it into an inferno. I'm like a phoenix rising from the ashes.
Right. Then yeah, we'll keep doing these interviews if you're comfortable every 3 months or so, just to track your progress, see how everything is going for you, developing. Because I mean, yeah, it seems you have so much still to achieve.
I'll just consider that another form of accountability.
Right. Good. So yeah. Wow. So yeah, just keep that in mind. In 3 months, everything you do from now until then, keep it in mind. Maybe write it down so you can recall in those 3 months to update on how everything's going. I'm
Yeah,
very much looking forward to that.
I am as well.
Okay, so now to end off, for people who are still thinking that the real world could be a scam for the $50, what advice would you have to them?
Coming from someone who's tried all the scams out there, I assure you it is not.
Okay, so Chris, thank you very much again for sharing your story, for the insights, for your time. For people who want to find out more about you or contact you, where can they do so?
I'm on Twitter and Instagram. Twitter is BarnonUGC. Instagram is Barnon Creative, and my business email at barnonmarketing@gmail.
So I'll add those to the description of the video. And yeah, Chris, I very much look forward to, as I said, hearing your story in another 3 months. And until then, I wish you all the best. We'll keep in touch.
You as well, brother. I appreciate it.